technically everything I do on social media is wrong, but it works because I'm not sitting here saying I'm an expert. I go off of human behaviors, how I think. That's what got me from zero business when I first started. I had nothing to closing $2 million the next month is from me just thinking like me.
Welcome to The Raquel Show. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And today I have a very special guest that I got to connect with at a speaking event in San Diego. And then we spoke at another event in Oakland. And where I really got to know him is when he got to speak for my private mastermind. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I really need to get to know this person. He is known as the Tattooed Realtor, and his marketing all around Arizona totally stands out. He's become known in our industry for his unique marketing tactics, as well as his brand. He was awarded Rookie of the Year, and it's been 40 under 40. And I'm excited to have this combo with this rock star, because not only does he run a real estate team, he is also a very active investor and an amazing dad. So welcome to the show, Justin Mercer, also known as the Tattooed Realtor.
Jeez, you're going to make me cry. Damn. Such a nice intro.
Anytime you want me to be your hype woman,
Yeah, I was going to say, just stay with me 24/7.
So I think the first thing that comes to mind when I was kind of looking at your bio and when I was like researching you online is, how did the Tattooed Realtor come about? Because that's like famous.
So like, I remember like, I have a whole backstory how I got in the business and all that, but I remember when one of the worst days of work I had in my other job, I was driving back to the plant and I had seen a billboard when I was stuck in traffic and it said the Tattooed Lawyer. So when I saw that, my first thought in my head was that's exactly who I'd work with. And that stuck out to me. So later on down the road, and to preempt something else, like Successful Misfits came about from that thought process I had when I saw his. It's because that ended up being my permission to have success. So seeing somebody do it and saying, this guy did it in law, I have a chance to do it in real estate. So it was coming back to that moment when I saw that, where I was like, look, he did it, the Tattooed Lawyer, I'm just going to be the Tattooed Realtor. And he was tattooed in professional business, I'm going to do the same thing. So I remember that it stuck out to me, just that one thought process of that's who I would work with, what stood out to my branding too. So he indirectly gave me permission to be where I'm at today.
So were you even nervous about that? Did you have hesitation, even though he gave you permission? What like thoughts did you have to like shift? Maybe you didn't in your mindset, because I think a lot of times we have these like, oh, they did it. But then when we get really close to doing it, we kind of like back down.
Yeah. So no one thought it'd work. I didn't think it'd work. Nobody thought it'd work. Like my friends, family, it was never like, you're the problem. It's not like Justin, your work ethic's problem. It was more like you can't change people's minds. So yeah, it was scary because the whole backstory is what scared the most, is because I was in a point in my life where I didn't want to be here anymore. So real estate was like my last shot at like being around. So if it didn't work, like it wouldn't have been worse off than if it didn't work or it did work. So it was like just my last hurrah. Like this is the last chance I have to be happy. Like, is it going to work? I don't give a fuck. Like it can't get worse, you know?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to cuss on your podcast or what?
Yeah, you could. I want you to be as authentic as you can be, right?
Yeah.
So now fast forward, how long ago was that?
3 years ago.
And so was there anything else in the business that you actually had to overcome, like looking back at your journey?
Everything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
But that's
I want to talk about like the things that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah, well, it was everything because but it ended up being a good thing now, because when I first started, I drove a semi, dude. Like I played football, I did a semi, like I wasn't a businessman. I didn't have knowledge of marketing or branding, of real estate, of social media, of business, of nothing. So I came in wet, like fresh year, like I don't know the business whatsoever. So now when I do speaking engagements, like I was on stage with you, I get nervous. I get super nervous and I shake. But at the same time, I think someone like me provides so much more value, not always in what I'm saying, but in the fact that I didn't think it would work. I don't have a background in it. I didn't go to marketing school. I didn't do this or that. So I appeal to the average Joe who just thinks they can't do it, because in all reality, like, I didn't need a marketing degree. I didn't need a business know-how. I wasn't born in a family of real estate. I learned all from doing. And there's social media experts, there's marketing experts, branding experts. I don't consider myself any of those. I'm a human behavior expert. I go off of human behaviors and how I behave, but doing stuff like that is what boosted my career.
So tell us more about, you're not a brand expert, you're not a marketing expert, but you're a human behavior expert. Is that how you come up with all of your marketing ideas?
Yeah. So everyone says like your vibe attracts your tribe, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's all I need to worry about. Like if I'm trying to think of a marketing idea to appeal to everybody, like why? Nobody appeals to everybody. So I'm trying to do something that nobody can do. So when the people who are most apt to use me get my message, get where I'm coming from, are the ones that know me anyway, like the ones that are attracted to who I am as a person or what I'm doing. So like social media experts, like technically everything I do on social media is wrong, but it works because I'm not sitting here saying I'm an expert. I go off of human behaviors, how I think. So if I'm thinking a certain way, most people attracted to me or would use me probably thinking that same way. But that's what got me from zero business when I first started. I had nothing to closing $2 million the next month, is from me just thinking like me. I go into that too.
That's so good. So your marketing is super unique. Where do your ideas, like, I'm sure, I mean, I've watched your videos, I've watched your stories. I loved your whole Titanic one today, right? It's like, where do your ideas come from? Or does someone like feed you the ideas and then you're just like, okay, we'll do that video. We'll do that video.
No, so I won't do anything someone gives me, because I just like, I'm so like obsessed with what I do now, obsessed with real estate, obsessed with marketing. I don't want anyone to ever say they helped get me there. Like, oh, I gave Justin that idea, or oh, I helped Justin get to where he's at. So like when marketing companies reach out to me, when people do, I don't want anyone to ever say I helped him do that, because to me, I was so prideful because I did it myself and I didn't think I could. Right. So now it's like, I don't want to lose that flavor, but all my ideas come from like laying in bed, hearing something on radio. Like if I'm watching a movie and I start laughing, like uncontrollably, I pause it. I'm like, what can I do to mimic this in real estate?
That's so
a lot of these ideas I had, like, have you seen my purge video? So that purge video, I thought of it the day I was driving to work. I dropped my kids off at school and I heard a tent sale ad on the radio. I was listening to like Power 92 or whatever. And a tent sale came on, but they were using the purge voice or the purge sound to announce the tent sale. And I was in a conversation with my kids at the time. And as soon as I heard that purge sound, I stopped the conversation to listen, because it was on the radio, and that noise just like got my attention. And it was announcing a tent sale. And I was like, oh shit, like that stopped me dead in my tracks from talking to my kids, was that noise. So I started thinking, I had this listing I can do a video at. Purge thought to me, and I was like, how do I make a purge? And instead of taking the purge, I did the splurge, because it was a $5 million listing. So like all that came from a radio ad.
That's really cool. So you get these ideas. I mean, your videos are fire, by the way.
Thank you.
So it's like, how long does it take you from like idea, you got it, to like, I'm filming, execution? Because like they're really well done.
That was the same day. Sometimes I don't want it to lose my mind or leave my mind. So I did that the same day. But there's some videos I have in my head that I still haven't done yet, just because it's hard to put some of the work into motion.
Yeah. Now, a lot of us in the industry are talking about video, right? Video is like the king when it comes to marketing, when it comes to like the connection piece. There's so much that you could do with video. Do you do it all yourself? Or do you have editors? Do you have somebody on staff? Like people are wondering, like, what is like somebody that markets like Justin, like, what does that all entail in his business?
So I used to only do it with my iPhone, and now I want to do more videos. So I did hire a videographer, and he's just a full-time employee, and he does my videos and editing. I got rid of him when the market was shifted and I was trying to figure out expenses and all that. After I got rid of him, I'm like, wow, like all my business, if I think about it, 75% of my business comes from social media. And I'm getting rid of the biggest piece of social media. And I made a move to a different brokerage for a reason, because I was getting attraction from agents. So like everything I had and built in my mind, I just let go. So I just hired them back. I hired somebody back and they started like literally 2 days ago. I think pushing video is so important, just because if you look at marketing as a standpoint in Arizona, like we have 72 Sold, you have Zillow, you have OfferPad, Open Door. You can't compete with them. I'll never be able to compete with them money wise. So market spend, I can't ever compete with them. But every client I've ever closed on has had a social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. And no one's going to follow Zillow. No one's going to go like Open Doors posts. No one's going to engage with OfferPad's Instagram page. So if I could be that same top of mind, stick out on a level of a social media level, like I'm more apt to get more people because they can see my personality. I just have to deliver the same message they deliver.
Yeah. You said like, it's so gold what you said, right? Like you cut off the marketing arm and then realized it. And I think you can't compete as far as like, no one is going to get behind that brand because it's so static, but people will get behind personality brands, right? That's why we have a lot of influencers in the world. And I think that's why I think our industry is changing. And I know like your marketing didn't happen overnight. So what do you think was like the biggest game changer, or did like every marketing piece that you do, like, did it just like hit like wildfire?
So like, it's that behavior. Like I stopped pretending like I know what I'm doing in marketing. I don't. I'm going off of human behavior. So when I had a billboard, my very first billboard I had up was me with a smile on my face. It was like a headshot, and it was my logo on there, and it was like just a nice real estate message. And people like posted. I remember there was a post on social media of someone making fun of my billboard, and it was this guy. This can't be a real thing. And then the comments were like negative. So I shared it, and it was an agent that posted it. And it went from like 5 comments to like 220 in 15 minutes. And she ended up erasing it because now she's afraid of her own opinion, but she had to put me on blast for her opinion. And then I started thinking, I'm getting charged based on drive-bys of a billboard, right? So how many cars drive by this billboard is how much they charge. So when I started thinking about it, I was like, I put up a billboard and people were making fun of me. Like, to me, it screams success. Like, it screams, this person knows what they're doing. They have a valid business. They spend money on marketing. Like, they obviously know what they're doing, right? So if I'm putting a professional picture up there with a thing no one cares about, the next one I said, I'm just going to do a funny one and try to get attention on it, right? So I did the NSYNC billboard where I put my face on their bodies and it said, bye, 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 but BY, BY, BY. And it says, are you not in sync with your living situation? Let's talk. That thing got shared on social media like 500 times. It was on everyone's story because I put my Instagram on it now. And now when you see my Instagram on there, you're going to tag me on it, right? So I got tagged in over 500 stories. So now I'm not just, and the billboard company thought it was genius because they were like, no one ever puts their Instagram handle on it. I'm like, that's so all smart. I want. Because now I'm like tripling my marketing dollars because it's a whole view count that people don't see. And now you're pushing out my credibility more because you push, even if you hate it, you're pushing out my billboard, which shows some type of social cred as far as a business standpoint.
Yep. I was just talking to our mastermind group today, and we were talking about the future of marketing and brands and how Instagram is actually to the consumer like your resume, because it's super easy versus Facebook versus TikTok. Like you can see it in a blink of an eye what this person's about.
I had this idea to do for a social media class. And I think you could help me on that. Because I want it to be like an argument. So my argument is there's no such thing as a social media expert, but I want 5 people up there who give their viewpoints and opinion on social media, because not everybody's right. Like my viewpoint on social media is completely opposite of what the experts say. Yep. But I would like 4 or 5 people up there, because we're not sitting there saying I'm right, you're wrong. No. I want it to be that as far as for the entertainment factor goes of it. But at the end of the day, I do want to pour into agents. I want every agent to be successful. This career changed my life, my kids' life, my family's life. So I want to be that to somebody. So if we had 100 people in there and they're learning 5 people, they're going to have takeaways from me, that person, this person, that person, that's going to help them grow to do it the right way or what they feel they want to do.
Yeah, I think it's so smart what you did by putting your Instagram, because it's another way for them to connect with you, and really outside of that billboard, they actually can consume your content and know whether or not, if like this is a person I really want to hang out with, right? Like social media is about connection, and however video, pictures, whatever, like, oh, I resonate with them because they're like me or whatever it is. I love their opinion. But I know, like, speaking to you in the past, not everybody resonates with your billboards. And like you said, with who you are. I've heard you tell me that even in certain neighborhoods, people have called you to take your billboards down, right? How do you just keep going? And how do you like build that muscle for those that are listening to overcome some of those challenges? Or do you not view them as challenges?
I don't, because I used to. So I used to have that mindset where I thought I had to get everybody. And that's because I wasn't knowledgeable on business at all. I was a truck driver, right? So like I'm trying to like cater my message to not make me look stupid and make me this, make me that. And then once I said, fuck it, like I need to just be me. I can't keep listening to everybody else because you're going to get opinions differently from everybody. So, but then I learned a marketing statistic, and it was the 33% rule. And I just did a video on it. Like, no matter who you are, like even you, like I have beautiful women on my team. But single women don't want to use them because they're intimidated. Married women don't want to use them because they don't want their husband looking at this girl in the showing. The older agent, like a Remax agent, that's been in the business for 40 years, and they know the handbook like the back of their hand. They're like super smart, right? My friends don't want to use them. They don't relate to somebody like that. So like, no matter who you are in this business, you don't get everybody. So like the knock on me and what I was holding myself back was something that nobody can do. Like nobody gets everybody. And once I started just leaning in, but here's where they go wrong, right? They stop being who they are to try to appeal to the 66% instead of just leaning into themselves. Because when you lean into your crowd, they're the ones that are going to share your things. They're the ones that are going to send you the referrals. They're the ones that are going to tell their friends about you. They're going to hype up your videos. They're going to share your videos. They're going to be the ones that push you out. But when you ignore them and ignore you to just try to appeal to people that are already out. So like I have a young girl on my team, like she gets shit on for being young in this. I'm like, stop. Because if you weren't getting this, you're going to get something else. They're going to find something about you that they don't like. The answer, like long answer to a short question, is just once I started not caring is when the business changed.
Yeah, I think everything that you said is spot on, right? There's going to be people that love you. There's going to be people that don't like you. And like some of the things that you shared, like totally like on point for sure. There's going to be times in situations where if I look back at my career, it's like I had to pay attention more to the wife, even though she wasn't the decision maker, right? Only for the simple fact of the uncomfortable situation between the couple. Right. Yeah. So it's like, where do you see marketing going, being authentic, right? But where do you really see, you help agents, you have a team. Where do you see marketing in our industry going?
I think it's going to social media, but I also think social media is going to be the biggest downfall for agents as well. It's going to be their biggest uptick in business. And it's going to be the biggest downfall in future business. And what I mean by that is, I think it's a double-edged sword. I had this conversation with an agent that's been in the business for 30 years. She's had a sustainable business for 30 years. And that's very hard. She went through 4 or 5 market shifts, right? Mm-hmm. Her business is maintained the same. And I asked her, I said, do you think it's a double-edged sword about social media now? Because this business has an 85% fail rate as it is. Mm-hmm. And it's because people are not willing to do the follow-up. They're not willing to do the prospecting. They're not willing to build the CRM. They're not willing to do any of that thing. Mm-hmm. What social media is going to do is going to teach them that they can build a business on social media, which you can't. Like, I don't think you can build a credible business on social media. Like, I don't think it, because it hasn't been proven yet. And take out the top 1%, like you do just in an average business sense. Like, you can't compare yourself to a hedge fund manager who's making billions of dollars a year. Take the top 1% of the agents out that are on social media, because it's very hard. You guys got to understand, like, real estate's boring as fuck to anyone outside of real estate. So it's very hard to go viral. It's very hard to go get this huge mass influx of leads from an Instagram reel. But what it does is get people too focused on the fun shit and not on the hard stuff that keeps people in business. So I'm like, arguably, you're in a better spot in social media wise, because you've had business built for years. Now you're adding on a great lead gen lever, which I think social media is just a lead gen lever. It's not something you should rely on. And I asked her, I said, do you think it's a double-edged sword? And she's like, I never thought about it like that, but yeah, like I do, because too many agents aren't getting the real of the business. And the real is prospecting and database. They're just thinking they can point at words and tag a video a certain way, and they're going to get all this influx of leads, and it just doesn't happen. Like, you still have to close those leads. You still have to know what you're doing. You still have to follow up. And I just think it's going to be,
you actually have to know how to talk, right?
I say that because I lost 7 listings last year. I had the best year of my life in my second year of real estate. And the next year I lost 7 listings. And I was like, what the fuck? And when I called them to say, why didn't you use me? Because I want the real answer. I'm gonna confront them because they're gonna help me. So I said, why don't you use me to list your home? And it was always, you look too busy. You're flipping $1 million homes now. You're buying homes cash every day. Didn't want to bother you. You did a video at $1 million house and I have a $300,000 house. Like, I don't want to bother you. And that stuck out to me. And they're saying this because I blasted myself on social media to be this credible factor that I'm getting the business, but I stopped the follow-up. I didn't touch my people. I didn't send them the quarterly touches. I didn't put them on an email campaign. I didn't text them and say, how are you? My mind, I was bothering them. I didn't want to bother them, but they're telling you what you need to do in your business. So I took that very seriously. So social media was my biggest uptick, and it was my biggest downfall too.
But I think through it all, you've learned. And what I love about you is you actually went back. Very, very few agents will do what you just did and what you just explained, that you wanted the real answers, and it just made you a better business person. It made you better at positioning your business, positioning even social marketing to look not so busy, to be available, or to have better systems on the back end to follow up with clients.
Guess who 3 of those people listed with? 72 sold. And when you think about it, when they forget about me, and I say forget about me, but just because I think I was a thought in their mind, but I think they didn't want to bother me because I wasn't showing them I still care. And that's a huge problem, right? But who was the next up? The loudest fucking marketer. So I'm a loud marketer, right? And who was after me? Who got that listing? 72 sold, because you can't drive anywhere in the valley without seeing their billboard. You can't turn on a TV without seeing their commercial. So it goes to show you how powerful marketing is in general, because when they didn't use me, who they love, they still have a great relationship with me. They use the next best thing, the biggest, loudest person they saw.
Yeah. So you speak about some of the things like mistakes and things that you've learned along the way. If you were to start all over today as an agent, knowing what you know today, what would you do if you had to build it all over again?
I'd build my database. Every person I ever talked to would be in my database. Every person that ever sent me a message would be in my database. Every agent I ever closed a deal with, I would be in my database. I don't have one. I just started one like 3 months ago, and I'm 3 years in the business. But I learned a hard lesson. Like, when the market turned and the same shit that used to work doesn't work anymore, I realized why these people that have been in the business for 20, 30, 40 years have been there. It's because they do it the right way. And that was the biggest. I'm glad. I was always afraid to admit it. Like, I was afraid to say, because I've been held on this like platform. And if I fail, I think I'm 10 times worse than somebody failing, because everyone expected me to, and I didn't. So if I do fail, like, it's gonna be 10 times harder for me to get over that. But after talking to people in the industry who overcame this 3, 4, 5 times, like, it made me feel so much better that, like, the thing I was afraid to be open about, which is I had a great business and it just went to shit out of nowhere. And I was afraid because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Talking to people that have been in business and overcame that was the biggest advantage for me, I think. Because at least I learned it little, or I learned it when I'm 2.5 years in. But that also skyrocketed my investment side, because I learned 5 different ways to make money, because retail was struggling. So I learned all these different ways to make money with creative financing, with fix and flip, with wholesales, with novations, with sub twos, like with everything, right? I learned that at a high level to combat, like, if I have a down retail side.
So that's really cool. Is that, like, I think whenever we have failure, and I actually just did a podcast on this, is it opens you up for options, because it gives you feedback and it says, okay, if that didn't work, we wouldn't have known that that didn't work. What's my next option? And you went into investing. So let's talk about that, because most agents, they go for the high GCI, they go for the units, but they don't ever think there's opportunity to actually be made on the investment side. How did you get into that?
So I was on a team that used to do wholesale, and I did a lot of it. I started touching on it towards the end of my second year. So my first year I did 23 homes. I thought I was trying to do 5. So 23 was like the best thing in my life. Like I thought I was great. Second year, I ended up doing 43 deals. 5 of those deals were wholesale deals, but 5 of them paid me more than like 15 of the retail ones. So I started like, wow, this is a huge opportunity I have that I just learned. And I branched off my own, became a solo agent and started a team. And my idea behind it was I want to teach agents how to have a balanced career. I don't want them to teach them how to be all about retail, but I also don't want to teach them how to be all about investment side and teach them how to coincide both of those. But learning the investment side at a high level brought me more credibility to my listing appointments. My listing appointments went from 40 minutes of me being nervous and selling myself to a 15-minute conversation where I go in there so confidently because I go in there as an investor. And I asked them the hard questions up front. I said, do you need to sell this house? What are you going to do with the money? And nobody asked that question. Like, I'm like, when you get the assets to this house, what are you going to do with it? If it's going to something, I'm like, okay, this probably looks like this is going to be a sell or a listing. You need the most money. If they sit there and tell me, oh, no, I'm just going to put it in the bank. I'm like, this is your savings account. Why do you need another one? And then I go into, you can keep your own home. Like, I'll teach you how to pull the money out of your home and we'll get you another home with that. And then you rent this out and cash flow. So I'm teaching them how to be wealthy in real estate, not just sell their first asset they have. Yeah. So once you provide them with 3 or 4 options, I said, they don't even know they have these options. Like, I've taught people how to seller finance. I taught them how to pull money out of their own home. But when I'm asking them these hard questions and getting these like financial answers back, now when it comes to commission later on down the road, when I'm, okay, this is probably going to be a listable house. Sounds like with your situation, we need to list this, right? They don't ever fight me on the commission anymore because I literally just broke down their entire, you can do this, this, and this. And it just helped me overcome different objections because now you're the professional, right? Everyone wants a professional. If you go to a dentist, you don't want the dentist that's in a shady ass strip mall, right? You want like a nice, clean dentist. So I want to be that in a listing appointment. Like, I don't want to be the salesy cheese ball guy. Like, I'm going there professional as fuck. Like, I'm giving your options. I'm very confident with what I'm saying. I'm not your friend. And I tell them I'm not your friend. I'm your friend before the deal, after the deal, and during the deal. But during that listing appointment, I'm not your friend. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Why do you think it's important for agents to know both sides? You said, I really want them to have a balanced career. I want them to know the investing side and also the retail side.
Because it's cheating. Like, you're cheating. Like, when you walk in a listing appointment, your first thought should be, can I buy this home? That should always be your first thought is, can I buy this home? And if you can't, if you're not in a situation and it's not right for them or not for you, then you go on. But we're in a career where we get the deals. Investors, what are the first thing they do when you start a wholesale business or something? You call every agent that's in the MLS and try to get them to work for you. Send me your deals. Any deal you come across, send to me. Because people aren't like, I bought that $1.6 million house last year. Like, I bought a $1.6 million mansion and I didn't use a dime of my own money. And people don't realize like the power behind like knowledge of what industry you're in. If you learn it at a high level, you're so knowledgeable. Like, I have people on my team. I'm only 3 years in the business. I'm still learning. But I have people on my team that have been here for 8 years. They know what they're doing. They're coming to me to learn a different aspect of the business they don't know. So they'll soak me up for their knowledge to boost their career. And I think too many people are so money hungry up front. Like, they ask what the splits are. If you ever ask me what the splits are, this is not a team for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So speaking of agents, you have agents on your team and you are Mr. Marketer. You have, one of the best marketing out there that I've seen in this industry, not just Arizona, is now, do you have standards for those that are listening that have teams? Because we have a lot of people that listen to our show that have teams. Do you have standards or requirements for them when it comes to marketing, since you're like so good at it?
No, I have standards upon goals they set for themselves. Good. So if you set goals that are unachievable and you're not showing any work to achieve them, I'm going to call you out on it because that's my job, right? But that San Diego meeting we had taught me a lot about myself. And you say it was a good time. Like, that was the most depressed I've been in business so far. Because when I got to that event, we had a happy hour the day before. And when I got to that happy hour, everyone knew who I was. They were taking pictures with me. We were chatting it up. Oh, I seen you this and that. And I felt real good. But we sat down and talked about business. Like, Kenny's business is unfucking believable. there, I forgot who all was there, but there's so many people there that are absolutely destroying it in real estate. And I went back to my hotel, like depressed, like I'm not that person. I'm never going to be on that level. Like, and I'm starting thinking, because I'm not a realtor. Like, I'm a marketer who can do real estate, not a team lead. I'm a recruiter, because I'm not good at running a team.
You're a marketer that attracts agents.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm meant to run a team or not, because I'm having these struggles and it's not struggles of like, I know what I'm talking about. It's struggles of, I can't make somebody want the business. And
I don't think anybody can.
It's hard for me, because I was like, you're coming to me for something, but I can't provide it to you if I can't, So it's just a me versus me battle, the team thing. And I'm learning.
I wasn't invited to that dinner. So thank goodness.
You weren't there?
No, I was not. I flew in the day that I spoke. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
So I saved myself from depression, I guess.
Yeah. But no, I don't have standards upon their marketing, because everyone has it in them. That's the thing. Like, they're always like, oh, I'm not you. I'm like, I don't care that you're not me. But the same thing with me, I'm going for the masses. I'm not going for specifics. Like, I helped a lady, she was like 50 something years old. She came to one of my branding events, and she, the nicest old lady in the world, she stood up and she was like, well, I'm not funny like you. I'm not this. How do I attract? I said, well, what do you do? And we pulled up her Instagram together afterwards, but she does knitting. It's like, she's a knitter. And I'm like, look, you got people commenting and liking this and knit. I'm like, why don't you do this? Because they'll watch her make something, like, and she'll fast forward it and she'll show it. I'm like, why don't you talk about real estate while you're doing this? Oh, I was showing a client today, and just while you're doing it, and you fast forward, do the same videos you're doing. I said, but you're adding in a different factor to it. I said, and then you tag all these people that like your video, you send them an outside message. Yeah. So social media is not made to be like a leads just come to you. It's a referral tool more than anything. It is a prospecting tool, but you have to prospect social media. You don't just post a video of a real estate idea and say, where are the leads at? You message each of those people out. You comment on their things. You have to engage. To get engagement, you have to engage. So
you mean you don't like post and pray?
That's what everyone does. That's what they're taught to do. But if you think about it, what does an average real estate agent have on their Facebook or Instagram? They probably have 500 followers, and they're most likely high school people, coworkers, family. Like, that's the average agent, right? And I speak to average agents. Mm-hmm. What do you think posting a 2-minute video on earnest money is going to do for these people? I said, you're literally boring the shit out of them. But how many of those 500 people, let's just say 10% of them are actively trying to buy a home. You think 50 people on your social media are buying a home right now? I'm like, no. Yeah.
They're posting like the now comment. You want to post like the hand raise before the hand raise, right? Yeah. The shareable content, the stuff that you do.
100%. And that's why I say that, because now, if I post reels about boring shit of real estate every day, and I have less than 1% of people buying a home at that time that would be interested in this stuff, because I already know all the agents are going to swipe off of it, because they already know everything about that. I already know my friends and family are going to swipe off it. They're going to use me anyway. They don't need to know this shit. Mm-hmm. And when it comes down to is, now you have a shitty watch time on a 1 and 30 second long video. What do you think Instagram's going to do to you? They're going to drown that fucking video out. Yeah. So they're just using this as I just think they're using it the wrong way to create leads. I just don't think turning people off is the way to get it. I think it's a referral tool, and the actual leads come from prospecting your social media, right? Yep. That's what people aren't teaching, is the prospecting portion of it.
I love it. Any advice that you, as we continue to kind of wrap up, what advice would you have for an agent that wants to kind of up their game in marketing, that wants to level it up, that's listening to this episode?
I asked myself. That was the biggest change I had in my career, was asking myself. It was step 2 in my training course. It's think like a consumer. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the business now. I quit my 9-to-5 job, the thing that provided everything. It's March of 2020. I have zero in the pipeline. I don't have the business. I don't have anything going on for me. I don't know real estate at all. And now it's COVID. And I have 2 kids at home to support. Mm-hmm. And I said, how am I going to get the business? And I said, where did you get the business, Justin? How did you find your agent? And I asked myself, I was like, oh, that was the hottest chick in the gym. Oh, how many people on your social media did you know went through my social media? There's 8 fucking agents on here that I knew. And then I went to all their pages when I bought a home. So not now. I went to their pages when I bought a home. I said, why did they not get my attention? It's because either A, they weren't posting at all, B, they're posting their families and food and shit like that. And the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the other 5 of them were posting market updates every fucking day. They were posting just listed, just sold, market median price here. Here's the Cromford report. And I'm a consumer actively searching for a home and I'm not paying attention to it because I assume, I just go off of my behaviors. I'm not saying everyone thinks like this, but I go off of my behaviors. I assumed she knew what she was talking about. When I looked up her numbers, she sold 3 houses in a year and a half. Like she was very knowledgeable. She knew what she was doing. So I don't want to and discredit her on that, but credibility factor, like that could have steered me away if I knew that, but I didn't ask. I assumed she knew what she was talking about because she's a real estate agent.
Right.
So the biggest change came on business is the next video I posted out from that moment, got 30,000 views. It had me 70 DMs a day and I ended up closing $2 million the next month. And it was all from that moment where it was just me thinking like me, like, what would you do in this situation? Like, what does an average person do? And I'm not saying an average person is in you. I'm saying it's me because I'm going off of my behaviors because my tribe is my vibe.
Yeah, that's so true. And so we talked about marketing. We talked about brand. We talked about investing. We talked about your team. What's next for Justin?
Successful Misfits is like my pride.
I want to hear, like, what is that for those that don't know?
So what we spoke about earlier was like that my permission. So Successful Misfits is your permission to have success. And I say that because when I was in that worst point, like I didn't want to be here anymore. If real estate didn't work out, I wouldn't be here right now, like 100%. But if I didn't see Byron, the tattooed lawyer, would I even be here to begin with? Because now I wouldn't have taken that. This is my last shot. Like I'm just going to try it, right? So it's just people that have a different look, a different background. They grew up differently. Maybe they're an immigrant. Maybe you have a past that you're afraid of. I've had so many success stories. It's crazy. Like, I don't care. Yeah, I had the guy who was 5 years ago, he's a homeless meth addict. Now he's worth $20 million. I had the single mom who has 4 kids and full custody of 4 kids. Like, how do you get a real estate career when you have full custody of 4 kids and you're a single mom? Like she did it because she was fucking hungry. And here's everything she went through, right? Then Peter, he went to prison for 12 years and he got out of prison, OD'd on fentanyl because he didn't think he's worth anything. He's like, I spent my whole life in my whole 20s in prison. Like no one's going to hire me. Now he's a multimillionaire. So it's just people's stories of their past and what they overcame to get where they're at right now to show the average person, like you're worth what you're willing to create for yourself. Because if I didn't have that permission from him, and it wasn't permission as we had a conversation and said, do it. It was a permission as I saw that dude have success because I saw a billboard. Yeah. So I knew there was an opportunity for me to be in a professional field with my look and get out of the monotony I was in that ruined my life. So that's what Successful Misfits is. It's just everyone's permission. And the best thing about it is I don't care who you are. Like everyone relates to somebody that has a story on that. Like everyone can relate.
I love it. Where can people connect with you?
Call Tattoo on Instagram is my favorite. Building out my YouTube.
And we will put it also in the show notes, YouTube and Instagram, Call Tattoo. You can connect with Justin there. And as we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every person that comes on this show is, what does Justin do to play bigger in business and in life?
I listen. I have conversations. When you and I had a conversation, like, yeah, I was interested in you, but I was like, this woman has the business. Like, I need to learn from her. So we chatted for 2 minutes, and I was already like asking you questions of, well, what do you do here? Like, because I want to learn from everybody. Like, I ask questions. To be the best, you got to learn from the best.
I love it. There is nothing that I have learned more from my mentors is to ask questions. You'll never get the answers until you ask the right questions. And there is no such thing as a dumb question. So Justin, my friend, thank you so much for being on the show.
Can I give you a kudos first for you, since you introduced me so well?
No.
I can't give you a compliment.
What do you want to give kudos for? This is about Justin.
I know, but I tell everybody environment's everything. Like environment, where you're at, where you're comfortable with is everything. And like when I went to your mastermind, I felt so at home. Like all those people there, the nicest people I've ever met. You're an incredible person. Like, you're so nice. I just want to let you know, like, what you've built and created, this Play Bigger thing, is huge for people. Like, just the environment alone is huge for everybody.
I am so excited that you're going to be there next week. And I think that you're really going to see what you saw in our mastermind in January when we kicked it off. You're going to see it 10x, because you're going to get to see a lot of amazing people. And I just think that it's about community. It's about collaboration. And we do it, like you said, for that story, for that one person. We can inspire people by what we do, and we can inspire people to play bigger just by showing up. So I appreciate you. You get me to play bigger, and I appreciate you being on the show. And I cannot wait to keep supporting you in playing bigger, my friend.
Thank you.